everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Public Opinion with your hosts, Pam and Vanetta. Hi, Vanetta.
Hello.
Hi, Vanetta is not traveling this week. She's not on the move. She's sitting still, and she looks fabulous. Her hair is different from the last
It is
show.
my hair again.
Okay. Look, what happened? Now, who was that? Did you name yourself when you had the other hairdo?
Oh, yeah, I was Lola.
Oh, Lola. So what happened to Lola?
Well, Lola had her time in the sun and it was over.
She made her appearance.
She did, but she will be reappearing in maybe a slightly different form in December when I travel again.
Okay.
It was we should do a show. It was the most carefree lifestyle ever.
Well, see, that's good. It's good when different hairstyle can just change you and just make you feel liberated or different, you know?
Well, I went into a place that I go to frequently, and they said, I didn't even know you today with your own hair. I had to laugh.
See, and that's something that's nice, you know, but that's what I'm saying. We're rediscovering a lot of things in our midlife. And so once again, this whole season is devoted to our midlife, our season of 60, and the fact that we are living, you know, it's still it's a whole lot of living that's still left to do. And so we still want to do it and find out different things that we can do. And that's what this week is going to be dedicated to. This show today is going to be dedicated once again to just discovering some new things. And we'll find out a little bit more specifically when we hear the public opinion question of the week. But I'm just still enjoying my season of 60. I just feel wonderful. I feel, you know, healthy. I'm trying to keep myself healthy. I'm trying to be positive and not have any negativity surrounding me. So I'm happy about that. I'm also happy, you know, we're coming off of an election and I feel a little bit better. You know, I'm feeling more like we still have a say-so. You know, it's important to get out there and vote. We're from Ohio. Ohio came through. We voted yes on and it passed two key issues, and that was women retaining their right to make their own choice and decision.
And we have every right.
Yes.
And now what I would have to say about that, they really tried to make that issue confusing.
Oh, okay. They tried to very much make it confusing.
Okay, to say if you a vote yes is a vote for death and all that kind of stuff.
And that women would have, you know, abortions all the way up to the time of birth. I'm like, well, if it's up to the time of birth, it's a birth. But anyway, I don't even want to get into that. And also to legalize the recreational marijuana use. And your son, who works in the industry, I'm sure will benefit from that as well.
Right. Yes. It'll be in late 24. Yes. And I'm excited about that because as a state, we're very slow to the game. And so it's a lot of money that has been lost out.
Yeah.
So I'm extremely happy.
Oh yeah, we're late to that game. But you know what? We are going to get started and we are going to meet our guests who are going to talk about our public opinion question of the week. First, we have Dr. Arlonda Stevens. Dr. Stevens is the owner of Midlife Renaissance Collective. Dr. Stevens equips and empowers women over 40 to embrace change, navigate life's transitions, and conquer the unique challenges that accompany midlife and reframe midlife from one of crisis and chaos to one of renewal and renaissance. Next, we have Mary Reynolds. Phase one of her life included a successful career as a project manager and program manager leading global teams. In June 2022, with a glide in her stride and a pep in her step, Mary retired, embraced God's blessings, and began phase two of her life's journey. Mary is now the owner of MLR Consulting, LLC, which provides information technology, infrastructure, and cybersecurity program management. All right, so we are going to meet our guests. Well, welcome, and thank you, ladies, so much for agreeing to be participants on the show this week.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Oh, I'm so excited. I'm excited about our discussions. I'm always excited when women can get together and we can talk about empowerment and just talk about issues that affect us as well. So this would not be the public opinion show without a public opinion question of the week. So I am going to show you all that question. What are successful strategies for turning a hobby or a passion into a business? All right, so what I'm going to do is give each of you 2 minutes to answer that, and I am going to let Arlonda start. Go ahead, Arlonda.
All right. So I would say one of the key things would just be doing some research. And by that, I mean making sure that what you have to offer is something that people want. Oftentimes in our mind, we think, well, this is a great idea, right? But then we go out into the marketplace and it's not something that people want. So I would say that would be the first thing. And then make sure that whatever you're offering solves a problem or provides some type of solution. Because when people are looking to purchase something, whether it's a product or a service, they want it to do something, right? To solve a problem, fix the issue, something. And people are not just buying, particularly when you think about coaching and services, professional services. People are looking for transformation and not information. And so that's why you want to make sure that whatever you're offering really solves some problem or addresses an issue that someone is having. And then the other thing is making sure that it's something that people are willing to pay for. Um,
Mhm.
because again, it has to be able to provide that value. And so then it's like, well, yeah, that's a good idea, and yeah, I need that, but it's not worth me paying $100 for it, right? So, and that's why I say doing research is key. And then the last thing I would say is really investing in professional help. And by that I mean an attorney, an accountant, to set your business up properly and understand the startup costs, because if you're going to turn it into a legitimate business where you want to gain sustainable income over time, you just want to make sure that all your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed.
Very good. Thank you. I can't wait to start talking about that too. All right, Mary, Mary, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm kind of piggybacking on Arlonda in terms of, making sure that there's a service that people have a need for. But while you're doing that, make sure you have a good business plan. I think one of the things that Oprah says that people don't accomplish their goals because they're not really clear of what it is. So by having a business plan, it doesn't have to start off really big, but it clearly identifies what the mission, the service you're going to provide, the financial part in there, and so that you have some way of measuring success. And then if you need to kind of revamp it and keep going or making changes, you at least have that type of a roadmap. And I think that's so critical because a lot of times we run out and start doing it and think, oh, this is great. And then you kind of lose your focus because you really don't have a roadmap.
Oh, good. Those are very good points. Excellent. So now what I want both of you to do though is to state what the businesses are that you are doing now and why you decided to do it, how you got involved in it. And so we've already introduced you during our opening, but now I want you all to really say, why it is that you're doing that.
So I call it my purpose job. And I am a certified positive psychology, health, and wellness coach. And I serve primarily midlife women. And I say midlife women over 40. And I want them to be able to embrace change and navigate all the transitions that come during this pivotal season of our lives. And I want them to be able to really reframe midlife from chaos and crisis to one of new beginnings and renewal and renaissance, thereby unlocking, lifelong fulfillment and what I like to say, experience greater in your later. And I got into this because of my own personal experience that I had in midlife, because so many things change, like our health. You know, I think one of the first things you got to find the readers, right? That
Right.
starts going
Yep.
around 40. But then just other health issues that we have. There's change in relationships, whether that is a romantic relationship. Studies show that more people are divorcing later in age. They're calling it the gray divorce. And then changes in friendships, you know, the best friend you had since second grade, and 40, 50 years later, it just doesn't ring the same, right? And then you have aging parents, empty nests, career change. So all these things kind of converge in midlife, and it can be overwhelming and you can feel stuck. And I want to help women move past being stuck, right?
Yeah.
Because this is really a great time in life, to
Yes.
really start afresh,
Yeah.
redefine your identity, what it is you want for the rest of your life. You start thinking about things, legacy, and I recently became a grandmother a year or so ago, and you start thinking about that
Right.
differently. So all these things happen, and it doesn't have to be the end, but it can be a new beginning. And so I like to consider myself, your midlife midwife, helping you, birth the
Oh,
vision
I love that.
for the next season
Right.
of your life.
Yeah, I love that. I really like that. Now, Mary, you want to go ahead and talk a little bit more about what you are doing now and what you used to do.
Oh, sure. So my situation is I am actually retired from a large corporation, and when I view retirement, it was more my phase two. And so I really wanted to, I had defined what my phase two looked like. And I knew I didn't want to sit down and watch Netflix. So, my phase two was my phase two was the, kind of focus on family,
Yeah.
travel, and then spiritual well-being. But at the
Mm-hmm.
same time, I wanted to have some earned income with something that I enjoy doing. So I spoke with a couple of my mentors, and one of the things she mentioned to me is like, what is it that you really want to do? And make sure it is that,
Right.
and whether or not you can have income with that. Turned out what I really wanted to do was what I really was doing in my previous career.
Yeah.
So what I did was I developed my company is MLR Consulting, and its focus is on cybersecurity, program management, and software. But what I did as I started to move into that, I really reached out to some of my friends and colleagues and to see whether or not the brand that I had developed when I was working was something that I could actually develop a career in, and actually, to Arlonda's point, get paid for it. And so that's
Yeah.
kind of how I got started with that.
Yeah. And I love that. I love what you said too, Arlonda, about really being a life coach as well, and for women in their midlife. And what you said, a midlife, what is it? A midwife for midlife. And birthing this new life.
Midwife, yeah, your
Yeah.
midlife midwife, right? It's helping you
Exactly.
birth
And
it.
I like what you said, Mary, is you still are utilizing what you used to do, but now you're doing it for yourself. And
Right.
Vanetta, I really would love to see Vanetta do something like that as well. Because Vanetta, no, seriously, Vanetta is very gifted when it comes to like event planning and that type of thing. And I could see her doing that for all kinds of people, and and I do believe sometimes people don't believe enough in themselves, or they just don't think that they have. There's a lot of reasons. You don't have the capital. You don't feel like being bothered running your own. It's a whole lot of things.
Right.
That
And
go into.
self-confidence is a thing that I should have more of. I'm sure I struggle with that, but I will give myself this credit. I did change careers at age 50. I do. I'm a development director, and in that role, I do the events for nonprofits. But to step out on my own faith, I should have that too. because I make money for others, which I feel like I work with a purpose, but the purpose could be me.
Or you could do, maybe other things too, along coincide with that. So maybe when you do retire or make a transition, you can jump into it. So Arlonda, what made you decide that this was something that you wanted to do for women, especially in midlife?
As I said earlier, it came out of my own personal experience. So I divorced after being married for 27 years. Um, my children, my nest was empty, so everybody was in college. And I just starts like, okay, what do I do? What's next? Because, the previous 25, 27 years have been with my family and developing, my marriage and developing my children and getting them all squared away. And then during that time of just reflection, I realized, and I say how unwell I was. And by that, I mean, I was still functioning. You would look at me and it's like, oh, she's doing it, right? And I was doing everything. But the decisions and things that I was doing were not coming from a healthy place, right? And so then as I started thinking about it and talking to women, I noticed it in other women too, right? That they were not living life authentically, right? So they're going through the motions, but not really fulfilled, be it in relationships or their jobs or just where they are in life. They feel like, I should be further along. And so I just wanted to help women. And because I was able to navigate through that and get to the other side, and I would say, as I said at the conference, I am arriving and becoming, but I've made it through that. And I can say, well, no, that was not the end of my life, right? This was the beginning, and it really catapulted me into what I'm doing now. And so, and that's why I say, greater in your later. Because sometimes we suffer in silence, we feel like we have to be the strong woman and it's not okay to be okay. And, so there are a lot of structures around that and why that's the case. And so I just want women just to like be happy, right? Enjoy life. Because this is a wonderful time in life. And and the reality of it is at 60, we have more years behind us than we do ahead of us.
Right.
And we need to enjoy these latter years and doing what we feel we were put on earth to do. And Vanetta hit on something when she talked about the confidence, right? That's a big thing that we as women hold us back, right? And I call those inner barriers, right? We have our own inner glass ceiling that really stops us from being all that we were called to be, need to be. And so helping women address those issues, right? Of where is that lack of confidence? And we all have it, right?
It seems like we have more confidence in like our family, our children, a lot of times than we have in ourselves. And that we were talking about that, Arlonda, you and I had met after work. And we were talking about how as women, we do so much for everybody else and in the family. And so, but then we kind of neglect ourselves and the things that we really want to do, but now
we see self-confidence in other women. I mean, I don't see that you lack confidence. I would never say that about you. And this panel of women, I would say these are confident, strong women. I would not believe your self-talk is not always positive. But in my own self, I know that that's not
I was going to say, no, I got to pep myself up because that's something I was going to mention is you have to really be confident in your self-worth and you have to be willing to take a risk, regardless of what other people may say. So, your tribe that you talk to have to be, honest with you, but at the same time, not someone that's going to like put you down. Oh, my cousin did this and they failed, and so you shouldn't try it.
Mhm.
Right, yeah.
Because no one asked
Mhm.
the person that lost the race how to win one, right? And so
Oh,
you just really want to make sure that you say, okay, failure is an option, and I'm okay with that because
Mhm.
that's an opportunity for improvement, and
Mhm.
and not look at it as really that, okay, now I'm not going to even do it anymore.
Mm. Oh, I like that.
It really
Yeah.
gets to a deeper issue, which is why I enjoy the work that I do, because it's so deep, right? And just knowing your value and knowing your worth. And we are walking around here living beneath our privilege.
Mm.
We
Mhm.
don't know our own value, our own worth, right? Because we have allowed
Yes.
society to
Mm.
say our worth,
Mm.
and we don't know our worth. And so, Vanetta, I appreciate you saying, yeah, you're confident, but baby, I've put the work in, and I put the
Mm.
work in, and I'm very intentional
Mm.
about my mindset and what I say to myself, and engaging coaches, right? I have about
Mm.
4 or 5 coaches. I have life coaches, a money coach, a business
Right.
coach, just to
Yeah.
kind of help me,
Mhm.
stay in that, because it does keep like, well, you're too old. And that was one that I had to struggle
Mm.
with. Like, who are you at 60 to start doing this? And, when you go on social
Mm.
media and you see all the 30, 40 somethings killing the
Mhm.
game, right?
Right.
Mhm.
Um, but I just had to push through it, and like,
There you
there is a
go.
place for me, and my people
Oh,
will be attracted to me, and
yeah,
so, but
Mhm.
it goes
exactly.
real deep into, understanding, to Mary's point, knowing your worth and knowing your value and knowing you're good enough, right?
Right.
And
Mhm.
that's a big one we struggle with. We're not good enough,
Mhm.
and it shows up with the old imposter syndrome, right? I'm
Oh,
Right.
not good enough.
Correct.
Right.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that is absolutely true.
I'm
We,
feeling
yeah.
stronger just talking
No,
to you
but
women. I'm
that's
telling you.
but that's why it's important to surround yourself with women who will support you and
Mhm.
and uphold you and make you keep on going and say, well, you can do that. And you're
Right.
right. A lot of times people look at people at 60. I know when I was younger in college, I used to think of 60 as being like
Oh,
really old,
dead.
like horrible, but now,
Uh,
but now that I'm 60, and Arlonda and I actually went to high school together, we were same class. But now I think of, now that I'm 60, I'm like, I feel vibrant. I just feel like you said, like I have a new lease on life, and I am going to do everything, or at least try that I want to do. And I think if we have that mindset, I think that can drive us into our next chapter, into our next phase of our life. So I really appreciate what both of you are said about that.
Yeah. Pam, I'm so tickled because I'm actually here in Nashville going to my homecoming at Fisk, right? And so we
Are
were
you?
Really?
we were walking the yard, and we saw these little college students, like, you remember that used to be us? And we see the
Is that
people coming by like, oh,
Yes.
they're so old. I'm like, oh, now this is us, right?
all right?
So
Okay.
we're
Now,
those old
Vanetta
heads,
just
right?
went to a reunion at her college.
I certainly did. And you know what? I remember someone asked me, he said, did you see yourself here 40 years ago sitting here? I said, no. But what I did see, and I won't forget, it was Steve Washington's mother. She had graduated from Central State and she was walking around. And I said, I want to be her one day. I can remember she was so put together, and she was a judge in Akron, and I just thought she was the total package.
Well,
But I
see.
thought she was old. Now, don't get me wrong. I thought she was old. But I was like, that old lady is carrying
It's
herself.
sharp. It's sharp.
They're
Huh?
sharp together.
Right.
And somebody said that about me, I hope this week at,
Mm-hmm.
homecoming.
There
Okay.
you go. Yep.
Yeah. But you know what, that is our responsibility though, to reach back and for our younger sister, because I didn't have as many people telling me the things that I want to make sure that I tell younger women, just a lot about a lot of things, motherhood, just a lot of things that I think now I really want to share. But yeah, it's never too late to do things that you want to do, but you just have to somehow find the confidence, to do it. and just say, hey, I'm just going to go ahead and try. Now, Mary, did you have the support from your family when you said, okay, they probably thought, okay, I thought you were retiring. And all of a
That's
sudden,
exactly what they said. Like, oh, what is this?
yeah.
And that's a good point, because a lot of people had a different vision of what retire meant,
Mm-hmm.
and people were trying to kind of impose that on me.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't really my definition of retirement. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
families like, oh, I thought you were retired. What are you still doing? But
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy doing it, and I'm glad I did it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's
Well,
good.
Mary, I want to say this. Don't look down on the people who want to watch Netflix, because I'd like to retire to watch some Netflix. I'm just saying.
Well, you know what? I want to retire to do what I want. Now, if I want to watch Netflix one day, then that's what I'm gonna do. If I
Right.
want to
But
go do something else, then that's, but I think
yeah,
that's a nice thing about
right, right.
retirement. I do. But do either one of you want to say anything in parting? Because we are gonna have to be wrapping up in a few minutes.
I would just say, just do it and step out on faith.
Mm-hmm.
And it's okay, like Mary said, to fail and fail forward. And really, there's no failure, right? You either learn a lesson and you can get back up and do it. And two things that I've been really embracing. One is progress over perfection. Because you won't get it right. You're gonna pivot and you're gonna like, oh, I thought that was a good idea, and then no, it wasn't, and you have to shift. And then also giving myself permission to be brilliant and imperfect.
I like that.
I like that. Brilliant and imperfect.
And imperfect. Both can
Yes.
be true, right? So I can
Yes.
work and operate out
Yes.
of my zone of genius and
Mm-hmm.
expertise, and I could still not do things accurate every single time, right? There's going to
Yes.
be a tech failure or
Right.
a typo in a program,
And those are two. Those are
or
two.
something.
Those are
Right?
two good things that can exist at the same time, and you're right.
Both can be true.
Yes, yes. But one thing I had a colleague tell me though one time is that what you cannot do is be pitiful and powerful at the same time. So
Now that's true.
That's
right.
So I like that. I like the
Yeah.
two that you can do. But right. And then Mary, you have anything you want to say?
I just think that along the line of what we were talking about is just really being, self, know your self-worth, but staying in prayer. I tell you, for me, having God as my, as my force is because everybody else, they kind of like, they're there, they're not, they're there, they're not. But he's going to be with you 100% when you're doubting yourself, when you just feel like nothing's going right, or when you feel like, hey, you know what am I doing? Why did I go watch Netflix?
Oh, you are so right. Okay.
That's a powerful one.
Yes.
Because when you know who you are in him,
Yes.
the rest of it doesn't matter.
Yes.
And that is what keeps you going. So that is so powerful, Mary.
Now that's now that's what someone else told me this too. You cannot worry and pray. You either worry or you pray.
That's right.
Now that's true. That is so true.
God doesn't want to worry prayer.
Okay, now that is true. He don't want to dwell in that area.
No.
But I really like that. I thank you both so very much for coming on. I appreciate it. I'm sure that everything that you say will resonate with our audience, and I appreciate it. Thank you so very much.
I love to see strong women like you too.
Yes, thank you.
You as well. All of you are brilliant.
Thank you,
brilliant and imperfect.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Absolutely. Oh, I enjoyed that conversation, Vanetta.
We some good women, aren't we? I was just over the moon for those two. They inspired me, honestly.
Yeah. And that's what we want to do. We want to inspire people and know that even though we are in our midlife, that does not make us the end of our life. It's called midlife for a reason.
Right. And we talk like we're so empowered and confident. Like I told you, I had an interview last week and I was talking to the lady telling her I know my self-worth and all this kind of stuff.
There you go. There you go.
Do I walk the walk? I was talking the talk, but I mean, she gave me inspiration to be the things I know I have the capability of being.
Exactly. Or to know that if people don't see your self-worth, you know your worth. Okay, and you know that you have capabilities of doing wonderful things. So I
Right.
want to continue to encourage you to, you know what, don't ever allow anything to get you so stressed out that that's, you know, keeping you from doing what you need to do, or even impacting your own health or anything. You know what? So we, as women, can be empowered. And if you want to start a second chapter in your life, anybody out there, I hope these ladies have inspired you to do that. To know that even when you retire, you can still find something else. Whatever your passion is, turn that into profit and purpose. Okay.
Chapter 2, 3, 4, or a whole new book.
Or a whole new book. All right. So if you enjoy watching us, please continue to follow us on Facebook and YouTube and anywhere that you get your podcasts. Until next time, we'll see you for another episode of Public Opinion. Bye.